Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Jason Clark, and it will be my privilege and pleasure to be your Master of Ceremony for today's ceremony. On behalf of Wayne State University and the Department of Athletics, I welcome each of you to the 45th Annual Athletic Hall of Fame celebration. Today's event is an opportunity to remember, reflect, and showcase the very best of Wayne State Athletics. On behalf of the athletic department, coaches, and staff, it gives us great pleasure to have all of you share in this special occasion. Here to provide a brief welcome, first on behalf of current student athletes and a representative of the volleyball program, Taylor Wagner. Taylor is also president of the Wayne State Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Taylor?
Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Wagner. I'm a junior on the women's volleyball team. As mentioned before, I'm also SAC president. I'm currently in my first year of nursing school, and I'm also a leader for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Ministry here on campus. On behalf of the athletic department and my fellow student athletes, we'd like to congratulate the Hall of Fame class of 2020. As student athletes, we appreciate and commend you on all that you accomplished during your time here on campus. This athletic community is our home and a place where you can blossom, not just as an athlete, but as an individual, a servant, and a leader. I hope that today is a day of fond memories and joy as you reflect and remember your careers as Warriors. I just want to say welcome home, Hall of Fame, class of 2020, and go Warriors.
President Wilson.
Thank you. You know, this is always such a special day. We're delighted to welcome some of our most talented people back on campus. You know, we do this every year, and it is always such a humbling experience because the people we honor are just so great. And, you know, I was a student athlete back in the day, and I thought I was pretty good, but then when I read about all these accomplishments of our student athletes, it's like, wow. It truly is very humbling. I do want to thank members of our Board of Governors for being here today. They were introduced earlier. We're here to celebrate our newest inductees to the Athletics Hall of Fame. I just want to say that you make us all very proud. As exhibited through your many athletic accomplishments and your academic excellence, you truly exemplify our motto, Warrior Strong. Where there were expectations, you exceeded them. Where there were records, you broke them. The lessons you learned in the classrooms undoubtedly helped your career, but the lessons from competition, how to strive for excellence and support your teammates, how to win magnanimously and lose graciously, how to give everything you've got when everything is on the line. Those lessons will serve you a lifetime. You're in good company in Wayne State's Athletics Hall of Fame. Today, you join a very distinguished and growing class of Wayne State players and coaches whose accomplishments are so exceptional, we want them to be remembered in perpetuity. The Hall of Fame Class of 2020 inductees will bring the membership total to more than 250. Members include Olympians, conference, regional, and national champions, former professional athletes, coaches, administrators, and individuals who have demonstrated tremendous personal interest in Wayne State's athletic programs. Each of you excelled not only on the field, but in the classroom and the community as well. You led by example, and our current student athletes are working hard to follow in your footsteps. In the fall 2019, we had 50 student athletes with a 4.0 GPA. 72% of our student athletes have a cumulative GPA of 3.0 or above. 46% of all student athletes have cumulative GPA of 3.5 or above, and 16 out of 17 teams have above a cumulative 3.0 GPA, with the 17th team at a 2.97. Last year, our student athletes recorded a total of 10,280 community service hours. Our student athletes have totaled 74,017 community service hours in the past 7 years. Wayne State finished in the top 10% in the nation in the annual NACDA Directors Cup standings. This recognizes the Division II schools with the most competitive success. To the new inductees, most of you have been out of school for at least a few years, and you've had a chance to test the value of your Wayne State degree. Judging from the feedback we get from employers, Wayne State graduates are well prepared for the world of work. I would say this is doubly true of our student athletes, because the same discipline and commitment you applied in your athletic endeavors will put you on a path of success in all walks of life. We hope that you'll share your Wayne State stories with your friends, families, and colleagues. You are the university's best ambassadors. When others look at your success, they see very plainly the value of a Wayne State experience. Thank you for all you do, for all your giving for Wayne State, your very, very best efforts. You inspire us all. Thank you.
And with us this afternoon to give remarks in his 20th year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State, Mr. Rob Fournier.
My wife gave me some great advice before I came up here. She said, you got a lot of Board of Governors here today. And I said, yeah, I know. I said, that's great. And she says, don't screw up. And I said, well, what about the president and his wife? They're here. She says, he sees you screw up daily. Okay, positive way to get me started here. Every year I have coaches that come up to me and they always tell me, boy, this person is great. They're going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. And I always think to myself, well, maybe, maybe not. I mean, there's so many things you can't predict when you come to school. It's that transition from high school to college, the academic coursework, the demands of a new coach, getting along with teammates, getting orientated to a new environment, and of course, the opposition, they get better too. So the group that makes it, it's a pretty select group. And I think what we've assembled here today is 6 of our best. I'm going to take a minute just to go through and introduce you to some of them, about some of their accomplishments, and a little bit about their history. Ed Viverette, football. You know, that 2011 team had such a great run. Ed becomes the 4th member of that team to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The first 3 were on offense. I guess it takes a little bit longer if you're on defense to get recognized. But I'll tell you one thing. If you were the offensive coordinator for the opposition, you knew where Ed Viverette was all the time. He was that impactful. He ended his career first in quarterback hurries with 13 and first in forced fumbles with 9. He finished 9th all-time in tackles at 295 and finished 10th in assisted tackles at 147. He had 31 solo tackles for losses and assisted on another 11. Since you get a half a point for an assist, the 36.5 solo tackles for losses, well, that ranks 7th all time. I asked Ed, what about that run to the 2011 championship? And he said, man, he said, that was a crazy road we were on. He wasn't talking about the transportation. We played up in St. Cloud in a blizzard. We went before the cannon fire down in Kearney, Nebraska. And then back up to Minnesota to play the defending national champion, Minnesota Duluth. Not only hadn't they lost a game on their home field for 13 consecutive games, but as coincidence would have it, their best player, who had sat out 1 year because of an NCAA suspension, he was coming back to play that game, DJ Winfield. And he was everything they said he was. He caught 6 passes for 101 yards and ran back a touchdown for 83 yards. I was going to minimize that because it brings back bad memories for Coach Winters. But the key, well, you can't complete a pass if you're on your back. And Ed sacked the quarterback 3 times. He had 9 tackles, including 6 solos. He was named the Defensive Player of the Week. You know, they say offense wins games, defense wins championships. That gave Wayne State their first regional football championship ever. That crazy road that he was talking about, well, if you think about it, Ed said, I'm not even sure how I got here. He said, I didn't even know when I got a call that you all had a football team. And he lives 15 minutes from here. He said when John Hauser called him and invited him, he came down, but he said, I didn't even know anything about Wayne State. He's talking about the university. But he said, as soon as I got here, I fell in love with the place. I still remember the people that took me on my tour, my student host. Mazen Jadu, Sergio Galecki, Curtis Ferguson. And he says, as coincidence would have it, when I got here, a kid that I hadn't seen since Pee Wee's, Antoine Robinson, was also making a visit. We said right then and there, we were coming to Wayne State. Didn't make another visit. Nobody else interested him. I asked him why, and he said, well, Coach Winters was great. And as it turned out, it was even better. He says, because it wasn't just football I could talk to him about, but so many things that have infected my life. And he says, and I made great friendships that I've continued today. And, well, most people don't know this, but I'm a little bit of a mama's boy, so being close to home wasn't bad either. Well, today the road is a little bit straighter. It goes right into the Hall of Fame, a place that any defensive player would say is a great place to make a stop. Ed, stand up.
Ed Viverette, please come forward. Ed was a 4-year football letter winner, 2010 to 2013, a native of Southfield, Michigan, ended his career as a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year for Wayne State, and also 3-time All-League player. I think my favorite memory of Ed is Rob was talking about during that playoff run in 2011. We were down in Winston-Salem for the national semifinal, and that's when ESPN takes over the broadcast. And the broadcaster that day was a gentleman by the name of Dan Hawkins, who was the former head football coach at Boise State in Colorado. And we're down on the field before the game, and he's talking with Coach Winters, and his comment was, you know, I watched a lot of the tape over the previous games, and you know, your offense is really good and defense is really good and a lot of great individuals, but there's one player that really stuck out on film to me. And he just looks like he's a matchup problem, a guy that's hard to block. And that player was number 54, Ed Viverette. Ed graduated with his degree in criminal justice and, like his father, became a public safety officer. Ed currently serves as a member of the Wayne State University Department of Public Safety under Chief Holt. And on Monday, we'll begin a new assignment as with a task force joining ATF. President Wilson, Rob, it gives me great pleasure to present Ed Viverette for induction into the Wayne State University Athletics Hall of Fame.
All right. First of all, I just want to, thank God for allowing me to get here. This is such a tremendous honor to be here today, to be thought of as an athlete worthy of being in the Wayne State Hall of Fame. Just like Brian said, these swimmers are amazing. There's no way I could have got here alone. There's too many people I need to thank. Some of my best friends came out. Mickey, Sam, Jesse Shannon, Pat came out. My grandparents came out. This is just amazing. I want to give just a little nervous. All right. So I want to take time to just thank, a couple of those people. So to my mother, who came to so many practices you can't even count, never missed a game. She was even at that game in Minnesota when we had 3 inches of snow by herself because none of my other family members could make it. In the cold, oh my goodness, it was cold that game. To my father, who after working long days doing surveillance and, being out all night, would come home and play catch with me in the front yard for hours on end just because I just wanted to run around. To my aunt, who's one of the sweetest and, most special people in my life, she lived in New Jersey for the first, probably 15 years of my life. And I always would go visit her and I would think like, man, she's kind of weird. And, then she moved to Michigan and you realize she is weird, but I love her so much. To my big little sister, who we have a sibling rivalry going on, and I honestly would not be here without her. She used to, when we were younger, she would tackle me and wrestle me to the ground, tickle me till I couldn't breathe. And to Coach Winters and my linebacker coach, Coach McKenzie, who brought in the undersized guy from Brother Rice, who didn't like returning phone calls, it's just been a tremendous journey to get here. I remember my first day at Wayne State was a summer workout at Math I. And this is back when we worked out in the basement. Not this beautiful thing we got now. We were in the basement. We called it the dungeon. And it was a leg day. And I never really worked out at Brother Rice. I was kind of just a feel for it. I come in, say hello, leave. But today was my first college workout. It was a leg day. And we're doing 5 sets of 10 on weight that I had no business doing. So we get like 3 sets in, and I'm hurting. And I tell my partner, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. So if you know anything about being down there, you go up 3 steps, and then you hit a plateau. And then I look up to like the next 17 steps, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it up there. But I eventually get up there. I go to my favorite bathroom, which is the handicap bathroom, by myself. I'm sitting on the toilet, and I honest to God think, like, is this worth it? Like, this is really hard. I could probably quit now and it wouldn't be a big deal. But I end up going back downstairs. Coach Harker blows the whistle. Like, we bring it in. I'm like, whew, it's over. He goes, we did a great workout. Now let's get upstairs and do conditioning. But needless to say, I made it. That was my first day here. My last day in 2013, I had an extra interview with my linebacker coach, Coach McKenzie. And he told me that I would be in the Wayne State Hall of Fame. And to think about where I started at and where I've came, it's just been, it's incredible. So finally, to my linebacker brothers, Riley Ross, Zach Easterly, Jordan Miller, Matt Faulkner, Nick Thomas, Mo Davenport, Steve O'Shell, Norris Friday, Marcel Jones, Anthony DeNamos, Idris Hobby, and all of my Wayne State teammates, thank you for propelling me to heights that I could never imagine. You guys taught me how to work hard, taught me how to be a leader, and taught me how to be a warrior. Thank you.
That's the class of 20 and 20. But the thing that you don't really realize is how great they are just as people. You try to give a little glimpse, but I can tell you this, if you were a father or a mother, you'd be proud to have a son or daughter like that, or a brother or sister, or a niece or a nephew, or a cousin. They're just exceptional young people. And although we could never tell how much time is left on the stopwatch of life, I'm sure as they continue on their journey, they're going to continue to touch people and change lives. You know, some people make teams better, but the true mark of a champion is people that make teammates better. And that's what these 6 did. There's an old line a coach told me all the time. It's a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept nothing but the best, that's usually what you'll end up with. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some of our best. Congratulations. Welcome home.
It's my pleasure to introduce the class of 2020. If you all want to come up here and help me unveil this thing, we'll do it.
Lift that up. Lift it up. There you go. There you go.
Yes. Why don't you guys stand around here? We'll get some pictures of you. Yeah, 3 and 3. Or yeah, you can see them. Yeah, we'll set it up there.